Most people think communication is about expressing themselves. It's not. It's about influence. Think about it. Have you ever left a conversation and thought of the perfect response an hour later? Of course you have. The problem isn't that you're not intelligent. The problem is that pressure steals intelligence. And today, we're talking about how to stop that from happening. Because there are people who walk into a room and instantly command respect. When they speak, people listen. When they disagree, people don't get defensive. When they make a point, it sticks. And here's the uncomfortable part. Many of them aren't smarter than you. They simply understand human nature better than you do. Machiavelli understood it. The Stoics mastered it. And if you combine those lessons, communication becomes a completely different game. Not manipulation, not fake confidence, real influence. The kind that changes your career, your relationships, and your opportunities. Because the people who shape the world around them aren't always the smartest people in the room. They're the people who understand people. Here's a truth most men need to hear. Nobody experiences your intentions. They experience your behavior. You can be loyal, hardworking, intelligent, honest, but if you communicate with uncertainty, desperation, or emotional reactivity, that's the version people see, not the version inside your head. Quick question: who do you think appears more confident? The guy who desperately wants respect, or the guy who doesn't need it? Most people get this wrong. The need for approval leaks through your communication. People can feel it. And the moment they feel it, your influence drops. Let me tell you a story about two guys I once knew. Both intelligent, both ambitious, both capable. The first guy always had something to prove. If someone challenged him, he'd explain more. If someone disagreed, he'd argue harder. If someone doubted him, he'd launch into a 5-minute defense. The second guy was different. When challenged, he stayed calm. When interrupted, he waited. When he finally spoke, he used fewer words. Years later, the second guy was leading teams and creating opportunities wherever he went. The first guy was still complaining that nobody understood him. Now think about the strongest person you've ever met. Were they constantly explaining themselves? Probably not. Strength rarely rushes. Insecurity almost always does. Remember this story, because we're coming back to it later. If you're serious about becoming more disciplined, more respected, and more effective in the way you communicate, think, and carry yourself, then subscribe to the channel, because that's exactly what we're building here. No empty motivation, no feel-good nonsense, just practical lessons drawn from psychology, strategy, philosophy, and real life that you can actually use to gain an edge in a world that rewards competence. Lesson 1. Stop trying to prove yourself. One of Machiavelli's biggest insights was that perception matters, and one of the fastest ways to weaken your perception is constantly defending yourself. Somebody disagrees, you explain. They challenge you, you explain more. Before long, you're fighting for validation. And here's the irony. The more desperately you want people to like you, the less influence you tend to have. Think about that. The strongest communicators don't feel obligated to win every argument. Not because they're weak, because they understand something powerful. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Not every criticism deserves attention. Not every battle deserves your energy. The moment you stop seeking approval, your words become heavier. Lesson 2. Master the pause. Most people are terrified of silence. The second a conversation slows down, they rush to fill the gap. usually with unnecessary words, usually with nervous energy, usually with things that hurt their position. Try this tomorrow. Speak 20% less than usual, just 20%. Watch what happens. You'll notice how much unnecessary talking disappears. The Stoics understood something modern people often forget. The space between stimulus and response is where power lives. Someone insults you, pause. Someone challenges you, pause. Someone provokes you, pause. Imagine somebody insults you right now. Most people immediately think about their comeback. The strongest communicators ask a different question. Does this even deserve a response? That level of control changes everything. Lesson 3. Understand human nature. Here's where Machiavelli becomes incredibly useful. People don't operate on logic alone. They operate on emotion, status, fear, pride, desire. This doesn't make people irrational. It makes them human. Most people communicate by asking, "What do I want to say?" Powerful communicators ask, "What does this person care about?" That's a completely different approach. Think about the last argument you watched online. Did the best evidence win? Usually not. The person who connected emotionally often won the audience. Facts matter, but understanding people matters more. Communication isn't transmission, it's connection. Lesson 4. Become difficult to shake. This may be the most important lesson of the entire video. Most communication problems are actually emotional control problems. Yes, that's right. Most communication problems equal emotional control problems. People know what they should say. The problem is they become emotional before they can say it. Someone rejects them. Someone criticizes them. Someone embarrasses them. And suddenly, logic disappears. Stoicism teaches that external events aren't the real problem. Your reaction is. Imagine how different your life would be if people couldn't easily pull you off your path. If rejection became information. If criticism became feedback. If setbacks became lessons. People trust calm. People respect calm. People follow calm. Not because it's flashy, because it signals strength. Let's return to those two guys from earlier. The first guy spent years trying to convince people. The second guy spent years understanding people. The first guy reacted. The second guy responded. The first guy chased approval. The second guy developed self-control. And that's really what this entire video has been about. Machiavelli teaches you how the world works. Stoicism teaches you how to remain steady within it. Put those together, and you develop something rare. Influence without manipulation. Confidence without arrogance. Strength without aggression. 5 years from now, your life will be shaped by conversations you're having today. The opportunities you receive. The relationships you build. The respect you earn. The doors that open. A surprising amount of it comes down to communication. So here's the challenge. For the next 7 days, talk less, listen more, pause before responding, stop defending yourself unnecessarily, focus on outcomes instead of approval. Because communication isn't about sounding impressive, it's about becoming effective. And once you learn that skill, you'll carry an advantage most people never develop. If you're committed to becoming the kind of man who understands people without being controlled by them, who can command respect without demanding it, and who can stay composed when everyone else loses their head, then make sure you like this video and subscribe, because that's what we focus on here. Not quick fixes, not empty motivation, just timeless principles, practical psychology, and lessons that help you become stronger, sharper, and more effective in every area of life. Thank you.